Fair enough. Recording is on, mic is on, slides on. I wish the time was simpler, you know, all the things that I should. Do you know what this is? Anybody? Do you know what this is? Oh, seriously? Oh, that's good. Oh, yeah. It was, you know, overhead. There's a little transparent, like plastic kind of sheet, and it goes and projects. Yeah. Before this, yeah, you can write it down like equations and whatnot if you want to. Oh, you know, I just feel it's funny that the university still keep them. Like, you know, sometimes occasionally like math teacher or somebody just use that too, but it's just like funny. Anyway, well, okay. Well, thank you for coming on a Friday morning right before the reading week. I feel very honored. So I tried to make the most out of that. And we're going to keep talking about leisure needs today. And actually, we're going to keep really talking about the needs, you talking about the needs. So we were talking about basic psychological needs theory, where 3 needs were important. They were, I'm not having heart attack, so I'm waiting for you to say something. They were autonomy, competence, relatedness. Okay, so it's right there actually. Their answer is right there. And then these researcher actually, Hancock's and colleagues, they identify in more of a sports context, but it applies to recreation service context as well, in terms of what kind of practices we can do, or we shouldn't do to, on the left side, help people feel bless you, in terms of those autonomy, competence, relatedness, or right side, frustrate, as in like prevent people from satisfying them. You don't want to do this, you want to do this. And these are just examples, but I hope you get some ideas around that. And this is very important, how the theory actually translates to potentially our personal life. If you're a parent or something, you know, babysitting, you want to do that with your kids. And in future life, you're doing, I don't know, sports, coaching, camp, you know, youth camp, whatever. You don't want to do this, you want to do this. Now, I want you to just quickly go through. I'm going to take just 30 seconds, 1 minute or so. I want you to go through the list. Have you had any of this, like a version of it in your life? Whether it's a work or personal life, or you're the one who did it, or somebody did it to you. It could be leisure, it could be not leisure. Something like a teacher's. And if you want to chat to each other, you can talk to each other too. You can actually talk, you know. What do you think, Noah? Alexia? What do you think? She's our, by the way, our guest. She's waiting for the next class, so. Oh, yeah. Sorry, he's talking about you. All right. So, anything you had? Not really. No? Like, think about it. Okay, let's think about it. When you have done any sports or anything, coach. Yeah, coach. Yeah. Somebody who are good at like adjusting the challenge so that like you feel comfortable. Some people like sometimes you feel like coach, that's too difficult for us. Like that's way above the head. You know, the feedback you get. I think feedback is a good one actually too, because you get that sports, you get that in a school and whatnot. Sometimes some of the feedbacks are empty phrases like good, keep going, like what part of what I'm doing is good, like what versus like some feedback more specific, like you're doing this great, okay, I know what I'm doing great. Have you had that? Okay, y'all are good. You have some ideas? Yeah. Any of that? And I guess that correlates to my question. Like, bigger question is maybe if you see like, okay, so let's say you had a mother who does more of this, say, right? Probably you would perceive, I mean, you love her anyway, probably, I hope, but you know, sometimes it doesn't. Well, anyway, then probably that's a good parenting. Do you perceive that to be a good parenting? Maybe it is. If you had a teacher who does a lot of this, or a coach who does this, probably you perceive them as a good coach, good teacher, so on and so forth. If you see a lot of this, now that's good. And now you know why though. You felt like, you know what, I didn't like that coach for some reason. Now you know, oh, my need wasn't satisfied. My need was frustrated. Any example? And please don't mention me because then my morning can be late. Just kidding. Any example? Need satisfaction, supporting, frustrating in your life or someone you know. Natalia.
On the relatedness,
Yeah.
When I was working, I had interactions with like managers or more senior people who would take time to try and like get to know you, and definitely it was really great. And then on the other side of that, did have like more senior people and managers I'd worked with who they were just so closed off. They were very cold.
Yeah.
Like no, like they'd never ask you about yourself on a personal level. Like there was just no trying to try and get to know you a little bit better. And it was hard to form that working relationship.
Right. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And I would say even so, more so, this is more important than relationship building, the relatedness building. Support is very important in a leisure, recreation, sports, and tourism park, whatever context. Youth camp, why not? Because it's expected, probably. And it's easier, like leisure, recreation, tourism, it's right there. Like, why don't you talk about it? Like, what are you passionate about? But some people like shut the door and just come in for the meeting or whatever, just get there for the work and just you know, do the work and leave. And that's sometimes there is a problem around that. And this is why part of that too. Anything else? Have you had the coach or teacher who give you your feedback? Some of the feedback are very good. Like, you know, you feel like you know what you're doing well or what you're not doing well, versus sometimes just like, I guess I'm not doing well or I'm doing good, but I don't know what exactly I'm doing well or not good. More of empty phrases. So those are some of the reasons. So hopefully you can do left when you get a job, done right. Now the forced advancements in a basic psychological needs theory, and I hinted that you get there. Blank. You got it. Okay. You got it? Good? Okay. Okay. Is the interplay between psychological and physiological needs. Well, we talked about physiological needs like hunger, you know, all that things at the very beginning of the chapter. And one of the reflection question was about, are they two different things, physiological needs and psychological needs? And the point that I wanted to allude is, despite the factor, you know, despite what chapter, you know, textbook said, really more recent research shows that no, they're not two different mechanisms. They're very, very intertwined. For example, one study showed that need satisfaction, satisfying autonomy, competence, relatedness, helped with the sleeping quality. How many of you are sleepy now? I am. So you, no judgment. I got a lot of coffee in my system now. Right? This is one of the issues that many of the modern people have trouble with. Need frustration in one study predicted bulimia symptoms. You know bulimia? It's eating disorder. It's very, very challenging, especially in this case, fasting and purging. So not eating, but also doing things to actually purge the food actually you had. This is major issue, especially adolescent, younger adults, especially female as well, actually. So the bigger point that we want to make, and also based on research and theory, is that no, the physiological and psychological needs are intertwined, affecting each other. Frustrating one side, psychological side, most likely causes the issue on the other side. So these things though, for example, now we have sleeping quality, eating issues, they have a clear relevance to what we're going to do eventually in the future, in the job. Don't you think? When does the sleeping quality come to an issue in our field? In other words, what kind of jobs do we have a client overnight? Camp, yes, thank you. How many times you've been to camp and you can't sleep? You couldn't sleep. I was one of those kids. I would never be able to sleep. I had a bad time. Maybe that was a pillow. Maybe that was something else, but maybe that was a need satisfaction. You didn't feel that your autonomy, competence, relatedness was satisfied on that day in your program. Maybe that's what we can do. Bulimia. This is especially an emerging, well, not emerging, we have known that for a long time in some types of sports related to a certain body ideals, like, for example, gymnastics, figure skating, for example. You know, there's the idea about how the body type should look like, or body weight should it be, so on and so forth. In that, these issues can come in. So if you're coaching those sports, right? If you're coaching, assisting coaching and whatnot, this is very, very important issue that your coaching wouldn't have any of need frustrating factors, because that can impact literally the athlete's life as well. And then finally, final development in this theory, hey, Calista, hey, is reconsidering the short list of the basic psychological needs. So we talked about autonomy, competence, relatedness, right? But some of the people are saying that, hey, is this really the three things that are just so fundamental and universally important? Or maybe there's a little more to that in life. So we have to do this work carefully, because we don't want to go back to the RE psychological research that tried to identify everything. You remember one person, Murray? He tried to identify literally like all psychological needs, and he went from A to Z. You don't want to do that. So we have to be careful. So there are 3 top candidates right now based on research. They're looking pretty good. So it's important that none of these candidates overlap with autonomy, competence, relatedness, but they still impact, for example, people's well-being, people's behavior decision, people's emotions, so on and so forth. One of them is novelty. We talked about that a little bit, chapter 4, in relation to excitement, because this is about seeking something new. After having this school life where you have a set class, same classroom, almost same people, we have sometimes random new, visitors, which is exciting, but same people, right? Don't you feel sometimes need to, I gotta just do something else. I want to do some different, leisure activity, travel somewhere else, reading week. I want to go to Vegas just because I'm sick of Edmonton, Sometimes it happens. So maybe that's one. Nature is second one. Relatedness, nature or nature relatedness. Have you heard about the concept called, it's coming to me, biophilia? Biophilia? Yeah, biophilia. That bio as in that biology, the nature kind of thing, and philia as in that we have this love and the need, innate need and love for nature. We are, at the end of the day, animals and nature, part of nature. Do you know that? We are. Whatever we do to us, we are. So maybe we have this almost like a genetic evolutional tie with the nature. When I was stressed out so much with the dissertation, there's something called a dissertation in PhD, the big research, big fat research, that's what it is, right? It's very judgmental process too, like people try to examine you, test you, all that. One of the persons, mentors advised me, Shin, you looks very stressed out. And that's just my default, to be honest, though. I wasn't maybe particularly stressed out, but, you look very serious, which is, my default. She just go out there in a river valley, just have a walk, and that sometimes natural experiences. And then we're, privileged that we're great here because we have that urban nature here. But maybe that's what we need, the sound of it, the look of the nature. In Japan, we have a word called a forest bathing. Oh, well, of course, that's English, so we have a Japanese version of it. But we have actually scientific research going that actually there's some sort of aroma coming out of a tree too, And if you go close to waterfall, there's actually something about that electrons or whatever things that actually have a positive impact on your body as well. Well, that's a physiological, but even psychologically, maybe nature is part of that too. Whether you can feel related to nature. And trust me, I am one of the least outdoorsy person. I don't know why I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, to be honest. People talk about Rocky, and I'm like, yeah, I want to just stay at home and watch Netflix. Anyway, the last candidate is this one, beneficence, or some people call, say, benevolence. Benevolence. Either way, doesn't matter. But what this is about is that this is an interesting one and controversial. They suggest that being right, doing something positive to other people, community around you, being right, being good, being ethical, being virtuous in your decision-making and daily life, maybe is one of our fundamental psychological need. Can I do a polling? How many of you, and no judgment, how many of you agree with this? It's a fundamental, so it should apply to all human beings to a degree. That we have this psychological need to be right, to be good, if it's allowed, if it's possible. Yes. Yeah. How many of you disagree? Oh, that just makes me optimistic. And I've seen some people, well, you know what? I agree, actually. I've done, for example, research-wise too, like some of the people I talk to in my research, they don't know how to help me. I'm just the random guy who's coming to their, talking to you, whatnot, right? They don't have to help me, but they're willing to help me. They're very happy to help me. So I'm like, oh, some people are good, actually. Many people are good. But I've seen a few people where I get like, I'm not pointing any finger to any direction in this building, but I don't know. Anywho, did you get that? Did you get that? I'm just kidding. Sorry. Discussion. Discussion. Some of the people are good though. I'm actually optimistic about whole university and whatnot. Anyway, discussion. How these advancements help in a theory might translate to leisure service delivery program, but I phrased it very broadly. But I wanted to actually focus. What about this? Okay, the newest development about these three top candidates. Okay, we talked about the practices around autonomy, competence, relatedness, but how do these translate to leisure? Don't you think they're very leisure related? If you think about it. I mean, for example, nature, it's right there. Outdoor recreation, right? So how can we potentially facilitate people to satisfy the need for novelty, nature, beneficence? How does that look like in whatever job you want to get? Is it youth camp, YMCA type of thing, or is it more of a like sports, esports? Whatever it is, how does this work? Well, esports and nature, that's pretty tough, but choose wisely. Okay, so what do you think? You can talk to each other. Give me some ideas. I could ask this question in exam, so you can prepare for the exam already. Take your notes. What do we think? Justin, Alistair, Rob, any ideas? Okay. What do you want to do in your future? Sorry, big questions. Yeah, big questions. Big question. You're like, Shin, don't me ask that question on a Friday morning. But okay, so what do you think? How does this relate to any of what some of the people do? When you say like some people do, like, yeah, okay, let's use something that we all know, campus recreation, right? Campus recreation, you all know that. So if you wanted to satisfy students' novelty in the campus rec, how does the programming look like? Do you think campus rec right now is doing a good job in terms of novelty satisfaction or not? How can we improve that? So like with things like the poster and all stuff. Poster hole? Yeah, they set up like pretty like posters. You go buy it at cheaper discounts. It's like $6 versus normally. Okay, okay. Is it like a flyers on a wall? Yeah, okay. Stuff down the stairs. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised when I was walking there to get food.
Okay.
And there was like a lot of people just flocking towards it, just because they had like big displays everywhere, like all the way down the stairs.
And it's campus rec. Okay, cool. Well, that's cool. Anything else? Any other ideas?
I think there are like red eye and stuff like that, that in my first year of being in KSR, I was able to participate in. And I think that was like a really new idea to me to be able to do so many activities all at once.
Wait, that was campus rec? What was that?
Yeah, red eye.
Red eye, red eye. So it's an event that has so many different activities.
Yeah. And for me, I never like did that many things.
And it runs overnight, right? That's 24 hours?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's called red eye. Be exhausted.
But anyway, but you don't do that every day.
No.
It's very noble. Good example. But probably you don't want to do that every day. That's also the thing about novelty, probably. Because if you do it, well, A, you're going to die. B, is that it becomes not novel, right? It becomes old. Because this has to be new. It could be. Yeah. For some people, gaming is a novel. For other people, gaming is like serious leisure that they do all the time. That makes it tricky though, right? All right, any ideas? Let's go. I need two idea. Well, I need at least one idea for each. Let's go from top. For each, novelty, nature, beneficence. Anybody talked about novelty? Anybody talked about novelty? I need your idea. Anybody? Kirsten, you want to go? Go ahead.
I worked at the Royal
Royal
Alex.
Alex. Okay. Hospital downtown.
And I shadowed the records there, like before I went to this program. So for novelty, it would be like keeping your treatment plan kind of new and exciting, like you don't go and use it in the time it gets to work.
Right.
So keeping it fresh.
Yes, keeping it fresh. Did you hear? Kirsten was talking about in the context of recreation therapy, which is using recreation activity for people with disabilities and conditions and whatnot. And keeping the activity different. And now that's very important because some practitioners I've known, especially the older generation, they're known for like, you are like, you know, they have their own thing, you know what I'm saying? Like they're like, this person is like, she loves gardening and that's her thing, right? Or the other person loves like yoga and that's their thing, his thing, you know, and that's just that. But this novelty suggests that that won't help at certain point if novelty is actually basic human need, right? We will need to be able to provide some variety of leisure recreation activities as part of our modality. Otherwise, people will get bored and it's going to get routinized eventually. And then that's happened. You know that, right? So thank you. Any other novelty idea? Jordan. Yeah.
Trails and like teach them things to watch out for. So it'll be like the participant will be like learning new stuff, all connected to nature, and like people feel good like about teaching them a passion of yours, like helping them improve their life.
Yeah. Okay. So Jordan talking about, sorry, probably you didn't hear the other side. Jordan was basically Jordan's idea is tapping into pretty much everything, right? It would be about like something like hiking and teaching the participants a new thing about the nature so that they can feel connected to a certain type of nature, whether it's certain mountain or certain animals or maybe whatever that might be. But they're also learning something new, maybe the names of flowers and, you know, local fauna and, you know, those things, right? And then what was the last part about beneficence?
Like you feel like better at like that you're positively impacting life, like you're more active, like just you feel better about like teaching.
Oh, the person who is teaching. So if you are the practitioner, you're the teacher about the nature, you feel better about it. Well, I'm going to actually take that and take it one more step, because if you incorporate, for example, some opportunity at the end of the day that they feel connected to the nature, and here's the opportunity to support conservation or preservation, you know, environmentally friendly, you know, programs and campaigns. You can donate, you can do these things back in your home. People feel beneficence maybe over there because they feel like they're doing something good to practice, to protect the planet and nature and so on and so forth. So that your clients, not just yourself as practitioners, but your clients, your participants would feel good about what they're doing. Make sense? Okay. Huh. Isaiah.
I also had something that kind of touched on all three. The novelty part might like wear off after a bit. I didn't really think about that. I was saying like how you could go out with like a group and like do like cleanup sessions outside for like trash.
It's like a community service kind of thing, volunteering. You go out, pick up a trash. Okay.
So yeah, maybe people just don't do that usually. So I thought that could be something.
If people don't do that usually, true. We should do that more, probably.
And feeling connected to nature. You're outside. You're like.
And you can do it in a river valley or somewhere area like that too, if you wanna.
Yeah, somewhere nice.
Somewhere nice, rather than the parking lot.
Yeah. And the last one.
Doing good stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of obvious. Yeah, helping the environment, helping the community, so on and so forth. It makes sense. Actually, I bought that trash pickup because my condo had a really dirty, parking lot. So I was like, do it. And it just snow happened. I'm just not doing it. But I have to do once everything melts. Yeah. So, okay, that's good. Thank you. So that's going to help my novelty and nature and the beneficence too. So thank you. Anybody else? Any idea? So that's the thing. People may want to actually feel good. I mean, do good. So when you have to ask for donations, contributions, community works, whatnot, we may not have to feel bad about it. Actually, people may have that innate need that they want to go, but some people at least probably. So the next section of this chapter talk about what is called leisure needs. So they're not basic needs that we were talking about. Earlier stage, we're going to talk about actually older research, go back a little bit again, of the scholars of social psychology of leisure. They explore the various needs that people tend to satisfy, want to satisfy during the leisure time context. And they're called express the need in the chapter because to distinguish from basic needs, basically, they do not meet these basic criteria, basic need criteria that we discussed last class in relation to Baumeister's and Leary's 1995 work, right? You talked about 8 criteria, the universal, it applies across, contexts and different behaviors. These guys don't meet. They might be situation or domain specific. Some of them are like specific to, for example, outdoor recreation. And they might be unique to certain individuals and groups as well, because you know what? I'm not gonna just risk, I'm not gonna risk take. It's just I'm that person. Okay, I'm chicken and I'm happy that way. So something like that. But anyway, and this also relates to an instrument. There is instrument as in survey instrument, survey questions, measurement that you can use actually for, let's say, your potential clients and what they're looking for, right? You're trying to do working for tourism organization, tourism agency, whether government or private, at a certain destination, and you're doing market research with the potential visitors. What are they actually looking for? So that you can actually program some events and things at your destination. You can use these things to actually see what they're actually looking for in the context of your destination, for example. But one of the things that we have is called paragraphs about leisure. It's like, there's a lot of questions. Well, it talks about actually 27 leisure specific needs. Tinsley and Cass developed that back in 1970s. It's quite old. And they categorize those 27 things, actually more than that, actually, because there are some multiple questions about the same thing, into 8 types: self-expression, companionship, power, compensation, security, service, intellectual aestheticism, and solitude. You don't have to remember 8 of those things, but I underline those 3 things because I feel like they may be related to or similar to the basic psychological need in a BPNT: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Autonomy-ish, relatedness-ish, competence-ish, power, maybe. The other one is coming from the, what was their name? Driver. Beth? Anyway, Driver was a guy who worked for the, they worked for the forest services in the US, big federal agency. Okay, national parks, park services and their federal forest services, big agency. And so he was in outdoor recreation area. And he created something called a recreation experience preference, or rep scale, which identifies 39, almost 40 needs, quote unquote needs, across 19 domains, 19 categories. I'm saying need as in quote unquote because, well, at this point they're already, do you actually need them or do you actually prefer them? So that is that preference or need? You know, it just gets really dicey at that point. So, but anyway, there's something called a rep. You can actually download it off the internet. There's a lot of questions in it too. So some of them are very, very specific to outdoor recreation, probably as you can see. Well, family togetherness, maybe to an extent. Learning, being close to nature for sure. Enjoying scenery, right? And escaping from daily stress and whatnot. Some exercises. So if you're working in these areas, there are quite a bit of actually resources you can use, depending on the situation. So those people, when basically like shotgun style, like we're gonna go try to find as many relevant needs as possible related to leisure. But this person, Isohola, Seppo Isohola, one of the earliest psychologists of leisure and tourism, he went a very different direction. He wanted to identify 2 factors that impact people's leisure, tourism, decision-making, and behavior. And he said they are, 1, seeking, and the other one is escaping. Very broad, right? It's very abstract. So what do we mean by seeking and escaping? So seeking is whatever we're doing, the activity or the place you want to go, right? In your leisure recreation context, decision-making. Like let's say you're going to the mountain, Banff, this weekend. That decision, leisure recreation decision, it could be about seeking that you want to get what the Banff can offer. Make sense? Or the activity in the Banff can offer. It's the attribute that exists over there, or certain activity. The other factor, escaping, is about you don't want to just stay in where you are, in a physical space maybe, or the social space, or whatever other personal things you have in your life. We have that too. So I'm going to show you in this. So each of the seeking and escaping later in research and theoretical work divided into 2 factors, the personal factors and interpersonal factors. So we have, once again, 2 by 2. I don't know why people like 2 by 2 model. But so these are the examples. So sometimes we do leisure, recreation, tourism, decision-making, and behavior to satisfy what is called, to get the seeking personal rewards, like these guys. Self-determination, choosing what we want in that context, feeling competence, and relaxation. So that's what we're seeking. We can seek interpersonal factors, such as social contact, seeing that you're going to, sorry, I'm going to use Lina's example, who is not even here, but she's going to Virginia because of the boyfriend, the relationship, social contact, right? We do that a lot. We do that a lot. I go back to Japan each year, pretty much, except the COVID, because of my family. I still have family over there. Or we escape. The fact is, we escape personal environments like personal problems, sometimes we have failure, and that's fine. And we sometimes do tourism, recreation, leisure, sports, whatnot, to forget about it, right? And then finally, escaping interpersonal environments. Your family, your friends, your colleagues. And it's just like, you know what? I love you, but I'm done. So just too much. So reading week, I'm going to just take off. Just don't contact me. That could happen too. And this guy, he's this guy, Sneppinger, he and the colleagues actually tested Isohola as this 2 by 2 model in a different leisure recreation tourism context, especially comparing big tourism like a Super Bowl, like not playing on a Super Bowl, but visiting Super Bowl, obviously, watching Super Bowl at the stadium, versus recreation at their local community, like local high school football games, so on and so forth. Same sports, very different context. How those 4 factors actually affect people's decision making. What they found was that escaping personal environment was the strongest drive pretty much across the board, different kind of activity, especially for tourism too. Escaping personal environments like Personal failures, stress, daily stress is a big factor affecting what we want to do in leisure recreation. Now, there was one exception was local recreation. Local recreation context like local high school football games. People's decision to do that, attend those events, was driven by seeking interpersonal rewards, like seeing that neighbors or other parents or friends and whatnot, making that sense of community whatnot. And generally, tourism did a better job rather than local recreation in terms of satisfying them. But also, we have to think about the cost associated with it. How much money do we have to pay to get into that Super Bowl? This time, it was Phoenix, Arizona. I don't even know how much that ticket was. Probably like 300, 500 bucks, maybe, I would say. And if they run out of it, then you have to buy the, those, things on the internet, which is like double the price or triple the price even, like, what we sold for the Taylor Swift tickets as well, which went crazy. Anyway, so how can we use this finding actually, this part right here, to actually guide our recreation programming and potentially marketing and whatnot. Let's say you are lucky you are actually the designer and programmer and marketer of this next Super Bowl. Wouldn't that be exciting? Just sorry, so you can feel good. And that the people who are coming to your stadium, I don't know where it is yet, would be looking for escaping personal reward environments. What are the things you can do in your halftime show, in your marketing, broadcasting, whatever, or the facility to actually satisfy that? Versus you guys, sorry, you have to stuck in the local community. You're organizing, I don't know, Strathcona's next like a local high school game. But people are looking at seeking interpersonal rewards. What do? Halftime game, pre-event game, pre-event activities, halftime activities. Throughout the event, you can do some campaign. I don't know. What can you do to actually help people satisfy that seeking interpersonal reward? As in this one right here, right? Versus you guys are over here, this one right here. Your side. You guys are looking for this side. So what can we do? That would be. Actually, I would ask this question probably one way or another. So tell me your ideas. What do you think? You're the Super Bowl side.
With something that's so around that it's kind of more accessible.
Okay.
Because end of the day, people are going to pay for the experience.
Yeah, but they're looking for especially escaping personal personal issues, personal environments. How can Super Bowl be designed in such a way that people can satisfy that very much? Makes sense.
Yeah.
They want to forget about their personal problems they have back in the home.
Like I would say make it accessible to, I mean, it is pretty widely accessible, like in terms of being able to watch on TV and like, but in terms of actually going to the event, it's kind of limiting on like who can be there.
Well, let's focus on those who come here, who come there. What can we do? What do you think?
I just set up some listening work activities to kind of build like randomly like 5 or 6 people and group and we can do some like team activity with people.
That's a good idea if you're on an interpersonal reward side. You're on a Super Bowl side. You're on this side. So you want to make it so that people can forget about their personal problems and daily life issues. How does that work?
Like going activity or going activity
Okay, so the activity that provides positive emotions. Yeah, doing some activities throughout.
Oh yeah, just sometimes Super Bowl there are a lot of like stars.
Yeah,
So just choosing one from
halftime performance. Rihanna this year. Did you see Rihanna? Yeah, with the she's pregnant and all, but she did that whole thing.
Well, it's like fans to have a maybe calm conversation or like
Yeah.
with Rihanna or
Okay. Okay.
Like visual and logical
Mm-hmm.
like transitions, like provide something that you can really see there,
Oh, I like you didn't see that. Okay. 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 I think there's something in there. There's some idea in there. Okay. I'll come back to it. All right. So I need an idea from each side. I need idea for each side. So we have a good idea. You preparing for the exam too, and eventually maybe future too. Who knows? You may actually, well, it's possible you actually organize May local events too, but I don't know about Super Bowl, but wish you luck. Anyway, one idea for each at least. Well, okay, well, so Josh, go ahead. You're on the Super Bowl side.
Super Bowl side for seeking interpersonal, like it might do.
You're on the other side, but you just
I guess providing the T-shirts for everyone, so they have a collective identity.
providing a T-shirts for everybody, like your local schools, like I don't know the Strathcona, the middle school, high school, whatever their mascot.
Yeah,
But that, yeah, is that what it is?
no, but like chants, like they can all say.
Oh, the chance the thing that they can say together, basically.
Then like T-shirts, collective identity.
T-shirts, chant, so that they can feel together.
Yeah.
That what? That's actually great ideas, and I'll get back to you, Isaiah. Have you been to like American schools, like universities? No, they have bigger bursary, and they spend not bigger, better always, but they have just they spend gazillions of money on their university president is not the person who gets the biggest money in US, right? It's the head coach of either basketball or the football, typically football. You know that? Anyway, so when I went to a master's degree coming from Japan at Urbana-Champaign, so it's Illinois, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, that's a Big Ten conference university. Our sports sucked. No, seriously, very much weak. However, it's a big deal, right? Still, varsity is a big deal and whatnot. So we had a school color of orange and blue. Yes, it's not a good combination of colors in daily fashion, but that was the color. So everybody on a game day, orange and blue. Some of the t-shirts were free. Just give it away. And I was like, it just blew my mind off. Like, what do you mean by free? Like, I was poor graduate students. I'm going to just get the 5 t-shirts kind of thing. And then they had a chant as well, too. So their team is called Fighting Illini. Illinois is kind of, the person's form of Illinois is Illini. So what they did is Illini spells as ILLINI. So one group would say ILL, and the other group, it can be anybody, say INI, and it would just like keep going back and forth. And as the first year international student, I couldn't hear what the heck they were saying. I was just yelling anything because it was fun, but still that was part, you can still feel the part of the big group. We would make the stadium over 50,000 stadium in such a way, sections are divided, and they were told you should wear orange, or you should wear blue, so that entire stadium would be blue and orange stripes. That's a big thing. But actually, if you go to states, that can be varsity athletic. If you work for them, that could be actually something you did, and they're doing that already. So great ideas. Siri. And you were sorry. So Siri works like a varsity here, actually.
Yeah.
You're trying to steal the idea from them?
Yeah, so,
Good
like,
job.
We'll watch like NBA or like the promos, especially like halftimes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll be like, what games do they do? So like we do like what we call basketball, but it's just giant skee ball that you play at the basketball halftime. So you roll it and you can win prizes. But like we stole that
Basketball.
from some university.
So the halftime activity events
Yeah.
that brings the kind of community together, fans together. Okay, that's
And
another.
also like the stadiums look like the NBA stadiums for like the university people. Like ours look pretty big.
Yeah.
But like you watch like any like the March Madness, you're like that.
You mean the American Stadium?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're like that looks like the NBA stadium. So like that's
It's like
that's
the-
college.
It is college. It is. Yeah. I thought you were talking about our stadium looked like NBA. I'm like, no. But yes, I see what you're saying. The halftime activity is very important. Although it's good though. I like it here actually. Very small, intimate. It can be very good. You can feel connected with the team and team members and other fans and whatnot. So it's really nice too. Anybody from this interpersonal side, which ended up we talking about? You good for now? What about the other side? You are working for Super Bowl. Yes.
Yeah, I know I can't do research on the exam, but I decided to search up where the Super Bowl was.
There you go.
So it's in Vegas. Well,
Vegas.
Nevada.
Yeah.
I said like a lot of your marketing has to be focused around the city. Your commercials, your like designs. if you
Yeah.
your
Sin
logo,
City. Mhm.
Like you can do like casino themes.
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Just like embrace the city that you're in.
Okay.
Commercials that relate to the city because those are big.
Yeah.
Part of the Super Bowl.
Do you think that helps with the escaping personal environments, personal issues?
I think like if you like I think it kind of does that where there's like I don't know how effectively there's like so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
But like if you're like playing off like a Las Vegas theme,
Uh-huh.
you like play it off like being funny.
Yeah.
That you're in Vegas.
And all the deviant leisure, the gambling and whatnot that comes with the city too. Any other idea about this escaping personal issues with the Super Bowl and whatnot, mega sports event, whatnot? What brings you when you are in a special context like sports events, tourism, and whatnot? What takes you back to daily life? We want to prohibit that. We want to limit that. We want to regulate that, right? What? Do you know what I'm asking? What brings you back to your freaking daily life? Like whether it's the student life or the personal issues or whatnot, Joshua?
Probably silence.
Silence. Okay, so keep the noise going, keep the things going, keep the event going. And Isaiah?
This would be like person to person, but
Yeah.
like if your sport team was losing.
Your sports team was losing, so that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because either side got to lose. Hopefully they get the close game like this year. It was pretty close game, very debatable, but close game. Any idea? Anything that takes you back when you were in tourism, sports event, and anything, any stuff that takes you back. Uh-huh. This.
Get a message from your wife. Devil now.
So one thing you can do, actually a lot of big stadium, newer stadium in the States do, is that they can control, well, they can navigate, not control, but they can navigate and guide the people's what they're looking on a social media. So that they can actually focus on the event. Maybe they can, and also just provide an event information. And maybe you can even potentially, limit the Wi-Fi, just turn it off and cellular data somehow we block it. I don't know, we can do that. But maybe there are a way to actually navigate around that too, so that actually people are focused on events, having a good time. And of course, we can extend the fun too, right? The event itself is what, 3 hours, let's say, give or take, 3-4 hours. Can we do the pre-game things, events and activity, post-game events, things and activity, so that, that escaping moments prolong for, I don't know, 2 more hours, 4 more hours, which can be important and relates to people's satisfaction. Because when you satisfy them, people are going to go back pretty happy and they want to come back to you, probably. Anyway, where are we? Yeah, I'm done. Okay, thank you. All right. I was like, 49. I swear to God, at that clock is at the very beginning of the 9:20ish. It's slow, and after it passes like 9:35, it should kind of pick up the speed. No, go ahead. Anyway, stay safe. Don't get into trouble. Well, get into trouble as long as you're safe. Okay, sometimes that's a life experience. Yeah, see you.